And one last thing that's extremely obvious, the Johns family in Clio, Michigan, that was the center of attention because of this BS rock throwing incident. It's very clear their last name is Johns, and then the other side of my family, when Lily was born, I said, no, don't give her my last name. Have her keep your last name, which is Johns. See, everyone thought it meant Johns and then Kenny, so John Kennedy. Yes, the Clintons did murder John Kennedy with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but their last name is Johns because of John Podesta. They have nothing to do with John Kennedy Jr. And the Kenny family, their last name is Kenny, not because of John Kennedy, but because of other members who are members of the Kennedy family, but they're not actually Kennedys. Like, I'll give you an example. Here's Bill Clinton. Here's Ted Kennedy. You can clearly tell because there are so many photographs of Bill and Ted together that they are father and son. I mean, clearly Bill is some sort of non-purebred part of the Kennedy family. And not to mention Obama. He's in 100 photos with Ted Kennedy. So you know who made him president was Ted Kennedy. And then you have Arnold Schwarzenegger. What a coincidence. I mean, they've been allowing him to make decisions, but he became California's governor and he was the worst governor in United States history. And then is it coincidental? I mean, these people know who I am very well. That after he completely destroyed the economy in California, God sent fire down from the heavens, burnt a city called Paradise down to the ground, that he finds a guy named Gavin Newsom. My birth name when I was born was Michael Kenneth Newsom. And he basically made this guy a fall guy, and all he would do is put out constant news saying how bad Gavin Newsom was. That was just to try to make Arnold not look so horrible. And what I think happened is that Ted Kennedy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the Clintons were all involved in murdering John F. Kennedy Jr. And isn't it amazing that right after his death, America went to shit. The economy, 9/11, the drugs, I mean, everything went to hell. You no longer saw the Kennedy family. The only person you saw was Ted. I mean, this is a guy who obviously was not John Kennedy. He was the other Kennedy who didn't get all the love. He wasn't as pretty. So they were probably jealous of John and his mom. And yeah, this is very important because there's been nobody louder in my head than a couple of the Kenny family members, Bobby, Matthew, and of course Jill, John's, her husband Nick, Alexander, and then when Lily showed up, all hell broke loose. And all of a sudden, they were receiving all this money. They packed up their stuff in the middle of the night. They left Clio, moved to Birch Run with James Larkin, which is so funny because his grandma's name is Potter. Like Potter's Field, you know, where they buried Judas. Because that dude, that's all he's ever been my whole life, was a Judas. He was my best friend when I was a kid, but as I got older, all he did was get me in trouble, and he was just a bad dude. He was that dude everyone told you not to hang out around, and yet somehow the entire Johns family ends up living with him in Birch Run, which personally sounds like bitch run to me, but if we're speaking in dark sentences. This is why they made the movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and they're in a phone booth, and they're time traveling. And then later on, Keanu Reeves made The Matrix, which was kind of similar, where they were time traveling. He was using the phone to time travel. And it has to do with my situation. I mean, Hillary Clinton put out a book because I used to live with my Aunt Lois. And one day, somebody went over my Aunt Lois's, and her name was Lois Kenny. And I have an Aunt Louise, who's Louise Kenny. So she put out a book called State of Terror by Louise Penny. You know, get it? It's dark sentences again. So, these people have been all over me for a long, long time and trying to take my life, but that doesn't really mean much when, you know, they've taken hundreds and hundreds of lives, innocent people. So, yeah, we're waiting for somebody to show up and finally get the job done. And obviously, that didn't happen last time Trump was president. So, let's see if it happens this time. But we'll see if there's any justice for the Kennys and the Johns family, because all they're going to say is, oh, we knew these people were extremely dangerous, so we took hundreds of thousands of dollars from them. But we only did that to save our lives. And it's pretty sad because there have been people in my hometown who've lost their life over this. And they mysteriously were found dead after communicating with the Johns family, being asked if they want to help play a role in this. So, yeah, I don't want to go into the whole shebang here, but